Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good whatever daytime it is for you. Um, yeah, this is another Sunday, 5 p.m. Central European summertime, and we're playing Vampire the Masquerade. I wanted to say Horizon Forbidden West again. Is I really I really trained myself to say that by doing it like every morning, like half awake. Um, and now with these nice afternoon streams, it's like, wait, that's not how it goes. Okay, so Vampire the Masquerade Swansong is the game we're playing today. Although I think I'll just take the liberty and push this button. Um, and I just realized that the camera is flipped here. Interesting. Um, Let me just quickly transform. Flip horizontal. And maybe there. Much better. Alright, so, yeah, why did I pull my mug close up so you can actually see how bad the background removal is in close up? Um, just like, since I don't have a podcast, I thought I'd just randomly do the white people thing and talk about some some things I've been doing because I'm feeling a little bit you know how I don't know if that's like that for everyone, but it's kind of like that for me where you um like my apartment goes through phases of tidy and untidy kind of like, so it just accumulates stuff, and then at some point I go like, oh damn it, I have to clean this up, and then I start the effort into cleaning all of that up, and then it slowly deteriorates again. And that's kind of the natural way of things. And I hear there are people who can just like keep their places tidy. um and I'm kind of trying to work towards that because I need a place to put things. Like everything needs to have its place. Otherwise, I'll be at a spot where I've used something and then go, okay, where does this go now? And if I have no place where I know, okay, there is this box to put it back in, then, or if, that place is kind of full and I can't fit it in anymore or something, um, then, I can't keep things tidy. And so I always have to go back and go, okay, let's create some more places for things so they can be tidied away. Um, yeah, and that's still an ongoing effort. And anyway, so like one of the deterioration things that happened was that these little filters on your taps, um, and basically whenever one of them gets stuck, I take out basically all of the ones in the apartment, which is two. um, and put them in like vinegar cleaner and get all the gunk out again, so they can be used again. And yeah, and recently since I clean them at the same time, of course, they roughly go bad at the same time. So recently, both of them were starting to like, not much water coming out and like one spray out the side and things like that. That the kind of things that happen. Um, and so um, I yeah, so like that's the start. Like, that's one thing that went bad, and then a few other small things broke and things like that, and all roughly around the same time. And so this is a little annoying because that kind of feels like the whole place kind of feels like everything is falling apart. Like um yeah, like the bars on the bottom of the bed that where the mattress lies on, those kind of like springy bars. Like one of those slipped out, and now to fix that, I'll have to take the entire mattress off and then take that grid off and get that bar from under the bed and put it back in and things like that. And so it's just all these small annoyances that I can just ignore for now, and each of which requires a slightly disproportionate amount of work, or simply requires a bit of work that where you commence it, then it sits in, for example, the cleaning of these perlators, I think is what they're called, the little sieves in the faucets in your taps. These you basically put them into a bucket of vinegar cleaner, and like leave them there for a day or something. And so that means there's this bucket sitting in my bathtub with everything that gives me water kind of sitting in there to get all the what is it called, the white stuff that kind of accumulates in water. It's like calcium, but the word in English is different. Anyway, like just the usual stuff you need to clean out of something like that periodically. And and so I've been doing other like small home improvement things recently that also kind of are like half finished because I'm waiting for parts or something. And it was a bit funny. For example, that might be more interesting than the rest, I know. I have a standing desk that you can... Hi, why are you big? I'm green? Okay, I guess it's a yellowish tint. I'm big because I switched it like that, because I thought I'd talk a little bit. But, yeah. I don't know if I can... adjust the color for a second. Whoops. I just triggered my chair. So I'm sitting basically on the floor. Okay. Back. The correct answer would be Hulk smash! Yeah, why didn't I think of that? I think that's worth Thank you. Alright, let's see if I can switch the light. I don't think that made it any less green. Ah, here maybe. What's this do? No? Well, not sure if that's any better. Of course, I could go and just say, hey, let's switch this. Maybe that will make me look less yellow. Well, we'll see. Anyway, so yeah, I have a standing desk, and it goes up, goes down electrically. It's really cool. It's nice because you can just change things up a little when you want. The problem with that is that my gaming PC is sitting on the floor, of course. And so that means I always had to be careful, because my PC cables aren't quite long enough to let the desk go all the way to the top, and then it would pull them taut and kind of damage the sockets on the USB hubs and things like that. So for a long while I had thought, well, maybe I buy some 2x4s and screw them to the table to make like a little shelf under the table on which I can put my PC, and then it would go up and down with the table. And when recently a colleague asked me, like, what do you have in your home setup? Do you have a standing desk? I remembered, I was reminded again of that, and while searching for the link to my model of standing desk to send them, I actually found that there is a very simple bracket that you can. It's basically two L-shaped pieces of metal that you screw to the top, to the bottom of your tabletop, so to the underside, at like the distance how wide your PC is, and then there's like a strap or two straps, one in the front and one in the back, and those are fed through these brackets, and then you just slide your PC into that and pull them taut, and then it's attached to the bottom, which is actually cool because it means if I get a new PC, I can probably still use that mount. A hammock for your PC. Yeah, almost, yeah. It's more like two swings, but yeah. So I just went and clicked and ordered that, and then later realized, you should have checked, like, what measurements the PC may at most have to fit into these, and, like, how much space it will take and things. But I'd forgotten that, and I'd already ordered it, so I said, okay, I'll just check when it arrives. And according to my dumb luck, to my success strategy dumb luck, the brackets actually fit. So, but one thing I had forgotten was that my standing desk has a bar going along the middle. And so I couldn't take these brackets and screw them on because they would go over the bar. But again, luckily, there was enough room at the back of the table, so I kind of was able to mount my PC sideways in the back, so I still have enough room for my legs. I just have to watch that I don't kick the corner over there and accidentally kick my PC. So yeah, so I mounted that, and I also
achievement unlocked.
Dumb luck. Yeah, see, that's how that redeem is supposed to look. Thanks for that. Thank you. Thanks for that achievement. Yeah, and so I also bought two little cable ducts so I can take the huge power bar that supplies power to everything on my desk and put them under there. So now there's a lot fewer cables going around on my desk. It's still not quite where I want it to be, but part of that requires me to replace some of the cables, like some of the HDMI cables that had to be long enough to reach down when the table was up, can now be replaced with short ones that just have to go from like the PC directly into the PlayStation, or the display directly into the PlayStation or whatever. So there's still a lot of stuff I have to do. And why am I talking about all of this now? Well, you may remember that I used to talk, and that's one of the clips that comes up when the stream goes live and counts down, is that I have these little, these little clamps, these folder clips as they're called. And so, the problem with those is that when you buy them, the measurement they give you is not how thick can whatever you stick into that clip be, which would be the important thing if you wanted to clip it to your tabletop and use it as a cable holder. But rather the measurement they give you is the width of this thing. And so I went and took one of the few that actually fit my tabletop. My tabletop is about 2 centimeters thick. And so I grabbed one of those clips that I have there, holding down actually my headphone extension cord. You can't really see that because it's getting it's getting clipped out because it's a different color. But anyway, and so I found out the ones I have there are 41 millimeters. So they're just about the size, and they just fit on the tabletop. So I went, okay, what's the next bigger size? And that's 50. Um, that's 50 millimeters. So I ordered those as well, but those haven't arrived yet because I ordered them later. And so I'll kind of have to wait with my cable cleanup until I have these to actually affix the tables to the right corners of the desk, so they kind of don't like run around and move when the table moves and things like that. So yeah, so I've been doing a lot of sitting under my desk and like overhead screwing and things like that, and drilling holes to actually mount the PC bracket and the cable things, and unplugging almost everything on my PC and then replugging it and trying to do it so that the cables aren't crossing over. Because every time, of course, when you change something on the system, that cable just goes on top, you know? And so you have some cables that then you move something and then suddenly it folds over another cable, and then you have this loop and things like that. So there's just a lot of fiddling about I still have to do with this desk. But hopefully that will mean that things will be a lot of cleaning. You wanted to do cable management, but Spider Bro says no. Oh, did it wake up the pet spider in the corner of the room or what? Yeah. Or do you just mean like the cables are your cobweb now? Yeah, I kind of like mostly it's already a big improvement. There's still this corner still has, well, it has a 10-port USB hub, so you can imagine how many cables just come out there and go in random directions, you know. But it's also a bunch of other cables that I'm actually not quite. Oh, some is just the USB power supplies as well. So I have like is it like 5-port? 6-port USB charger that is nearly full, that you know, like supplies power to various, like I think my PlayStation controller gets charged that way, so that when the PlayStation turns off, so I can turn the PlayStation off without it having to supply power, because somehow, even though I have it set to like supply power for like 2 hours after use, it seems to not actually be charging the controller as reliably, so that was always a problem. You may remember me having to suddenly plug in the controller in the middle of the day or something like that. And then there's like my iPad, which I have like connected to a wired, like it sits on a stand up here, so that's what I use to see whether the stream comes back all right. And where I can check, like, is the audio actually on stream, and is it not just OBS's monitor and then it gets lost or whatever. And I've plugged this into a adapter that has a powered USB hub attached to it, so I can use the microphone with it if I want to. It has a USB headphone thing. That's how I hear this, because the new iPads don't have the headphone port anymore. And it has an Ethernet port, so actually it gets wired internet for its for the stream, and doesn't go over Wi-Fi, which of course makes it reliable for things like monitoring the stream. And so there's lots of cables and hubs. There's the hub that I use when I use my work laptop here, to plug that in. and then it gets the 2 screens and power supply via a few plugs and wired Ethernet and things. So it's basically a dock. So anyway, there's all this stuff on this table. This is a setup for 2, 3. Technically, it's a setup for 3 different laptops to be used, and a gaming PC and a PlayStation. And it has 3 displays. And it has an amplifier with speakers. So there's a lot of junk on this desk. That's basically like all the electronics investments I've made for the last 15 years are basically collected on this desk now. So, it's not easy to wire this all up. But anyway, that's what I've been doing in the last week, is just replugging stuff and rearranging and making it look pretty. And so, yeah, I hope that it'll get to a point where I can actually happily post the results of my tinkering and post it in Discord or something. So if you're curious about stuff like that, keep an eye on that, I guess. The Discord link is down here. Occasionally this changes to all sorts of links periodically. Or if you're seeing this on Twitch, then you can find it in the About section. You might have to click my name to see the link of the About section. But anyway, so yeah, that works. And those are only the PCs. The other desk over there has all the Macs of the last 15 years. Yeah, not quite wrong. That was actually another thing I realized. I have an old as in Motorola 68000. So that's, I think, about 1992? So yeah, I have an old 1992 Mac that I had sitting like on the side, like to the right of my legs, basically under the desk. And that was a bit of a annoying location to have it. And so recently I realized, it might just about fit on top of the shelf over there. And so I put it up there now, and yeah, it just about fits. Luckily, its legs are recessed, like it has rubber feet at the bottom. And they are recessed by about, let's say, 2 inches from the front of the machine. And it just sticks out about that amount over the edge of the shelf. So again, dumb luck, it worked. I can put it on there, it's still sitting on its rubber feet, it's not risking to slip down because they built it that way. As if they knew how big my shelf was. And yeah, I mean, it might just be that it's a standard measurement, it's probably like, if the shelf is like, I don't know, 30 centimeters deep or whatever, then maybe, they just went like, well, let's place it so it can fit on something that is 30 centimeters because, most shelves are like that or something. It could be that they even did that. Desks have little shelves built into them as well sometimes. I don't know, honestly. Yeah. And I have a bunch of PCs or Macs, old machines and things like that do not really, like, they don't fit into the shelves proper because they're just too tall. Like if you have a 27-inch iMac, it's the 27-inch diagonal display, but that and that little silver chin that they had under the display that, quote unquote contains the computer. Although the computer is kind of along the whole length, but still, there's a whole bunch of stuff down there. And so that alone is pretty tall. It's, like, think of a 27-inch, like a 4K display if you've seen one. How tall those usually are. And just like that, it has a foot underneath it. So I don't really have any shelves I can put it on. And my, I can put it in. And I don't, like, if I put it on top of the shelves, the problem is that my ceiling is not tall enough compared to those shelves. So my 27-inch iMac actually just sits on a windowsill in my living room right now. Because there's no, like, storage place or something where I can put it. And my desk that I would usually have had it on is the one I usually use for working, unless I want the standing desk. So it's kind of all these compromises being made, for like, oh, I need a work from home setup, and it shouldn't be the work setup, and things like that. Anyway, lots of long talking, but it means, yay, the folder clips are back, and I'll have a bunch of really large ones soon. Now that I know that 50 millimeter width, so that's like 5 centimeters, is probably the best one to kind of clamp to a table. Because of course, everyone just cares about like how much space it uses vertically, and not what you can actually clamp with it. Because of course a clamp's job is not actually clamping around things, right? I don't know. And related to that, while I'm just talking about random shit that nobody cares about, one of my most used quote-unquote tricks, it's actually a well-known thing, I didn't come up with it, it's a common thing, is, if you have like a mounting bracket of some sort, it has screw holes at a certain distance, it has a certain width, and you need to place it, under your desk or anything, like screw it to the side of a shelf, drill holes in the walls with dowels and, attach it to the wall, something like that, then the problem is always like, marking the holes on the wall correctly and marking like, where should it best be, and then making sure that's aligned right. And the best trick I found for that is take the bracket and take a sheet of paper and mark the outline of this thing on the paper, and, trace the inside of the screw holes with a pencil as well. And maybe, like if, for example, those cable ducts, they're kind of like L-shaped, but the top is a little bit shorter, so the top part with the screw holes is short, and the bottom part kind of stands out like this, so that the actual power strip fits into it, but the cables can still come out, And so not only did I have to know, like, does the top part fit so I can actually screw it on, but also, like, where will the end of the cable duct end up, because I kind of wanted it to line up with the back of the tabletop at least. And so I actually had to turn the whole thing around then and make another mark to indicate, okay, this is how far it goes out. But then the advantage was I could just punch through the holes and then take like little strips of tape and just tape them to the bottom in the right position, to the underside of the table, and then just drill through the holes in this paper stencil. And that's a lot more convenient than having to hold up the heavy mounting bracket and maybe even fit, my drill wouldn't even fit through, I wouldn't be able to get past that L-shaped mounting bracket to actually drill the hole. So, that's a recommendation I can give. If you have anything that you need to mount to anything else with screws, draw a little stencil like that. In fact, I would say if you're involved in designing anything like that, why not include a stencil? Like you can just print a sheet of paper with, the outline and the holes marked, and then tell people, here, hold that up to the wall before you mount it, drill through those 2 holes, you're good. It's such a convenience. And I've had a few devices like I think our phone system when I grew up came with such a stencil. I think that's where I basically first saw it. And so that's really really convenient, and it shows that whoever designed the machine actually thought about what you as the customer would do with their device after you got it. There's also some small details, like these cable ducts. Of course, they have to be this L-shaped thing. And it has to be reasonably solid so you can put power strips and stuff on it. But on the other hand, you need access to these 2 screw holes with your screwdriver. And so they actually punched 2 holes, larger holes, under the screws into the bottom so that you can feed a screwdriver and even partially its handle through there. And I'm so glad they did that, because, otherwise I would have had to buy a special adapter that kind of, lets me screw from the side, but the screw driving head goes up towards the top. Like a cardan joint? I don't know the English word right now, but there's like basically many cars have a joint like that. It's basically, if you have a rotating pipe, there's a special kind of joint that you can build. It's kind of like a middle piece is like a do I have anything here? Well, it's like a cube or something in the middle, and there's like one pipe going through here and one pipe going through here, attached at the top and the bottom. So you have both these U-shaped things and these pipes that just go through, and so it can move this way and it can move this way. And when you turn it, it can kind of stay slightly bent, and it will still turn, because those 2 dimensions is all it needs to go. So basically you can have a rotating axle that has a bend at some point. And you can buy that for screwdrivers. Universal joint, universal coupling, U-joint. Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Anyway, yeah, so so yeah, I've been tinkering around a little bit and kind of getting like at least a minimum of physical exercise in now. More in the process. And also getting a reminder of that I might need to do some more training. I do need to do some more. Just to because like I pretty early on, like my elbows already hurt, and usually I felt when I was doing overhead work at home somewhere, I felt it in the evening that I had used those muscles more, but I didn't really feel it at the time that I was doing as much. You went hiking and noticed you're much slower uphill. Yeah. I tried that a while ago, like tried to find my way to work again with the bicycle. Like I did it on the weekend, just to try out the route. And about halfway I realized I was getting really exhausted and had to turn back, and I barely made it back home. So, and I mean, I know it's a 12-kilometer 1 week, 1 way bike ride, and I think it was about 5 kilometers and then back. So, but like, if I had done the way on a work day and had continued until the end, and even had it only been 10 kilometers and not 12, I wouldn't have been able to work afterwards. So, yeah. And I have done the 12 kilometers to work before, and it was a bit stressful. It's a good amount of exercise, but I managed to do it and work after it, and then after the work day, so 8 hours later, go back home. So it's not as if I haven't done it before, so I know I'm out of shape because of only working from home and not having a way to work. And also, of course, there was, even before COVID and the whole work from home stuff started, I had to go. I mostly went to work via subway. So, already then I wasn't getting that much exercise in. It was just, go to the subway stop, take the train, go from the subway stop to the office, and then, the reverse. Although I guess the difference there is that often I didn't get a seat on the subway, so at least I was standing there holding on over my head and being shaken side to side occasionally. So that's actually some good exercise as well, so I'm even lacking that now. I'm not out of shape. Round is a shape. Yeah, it's a classic. Alright, anyway, so much about, all this talk about random things I'm doing at home. That I'm not actually that nobody really cares about. But yeah, now I guess let's get to the game. I should probably here, yeah. Okay, so you got your tiny Uli back, not as scary anymore. Oh yeah, and so yeah, last time we talked to the Hartford Chantry folks. You did not recover all your memories. Ouch. So yeah, that was me leaving too early and not realizing I had some work left to do. And we also didn't free the prisoner in the tower. But we met the Tremere from the Hartford Chantry. You convinced the Tremere from the Hartford Chantry resonance bonus celerity. That's actually good that whoever we ate from last had this bonus for celerity. Which is the, the blink ability, the fast travel thing. Nobody cares. At least you got an achievement for it. Thank you. Yeah. And I know now that it worked. It was basically, in case you're curious, the reason it wasn't working last time with the achievements, why only the sound was playing, was apparently I need to start my bot first, and then I need to start OBS. So apparently the OBS plugin does not check whether it, so the OBS plugin for the bot, or I guess it's just a web overlay technically. So anyway, the web overlay doesn't reload a page, a connection to the bot. The bot basically pretends it's a website. And so the bot doesn't get reloaded, and so I don't see any overlays that the bot shows. Unless I have the bot started first. Which I wasn't aware. I didn't think that worked first. That was a problem first. So either that's a change to OBS to kind of, you know, improve performance, or I just habitually started the bot first and never noticed. Alright. So I guess now we continue. After reporting on the situation, Leisha and Galeb offer the prince their services once again. Yeah, that was where we were last time. Galeb Bazori gets to level up. Available experience. Social. Mental. Physical. Oh, can we also just level those up? Yeah, we can. And disciplines? Walls of the mind. What is walls of the mind? Defends against the opponent's skills. Increases the chance of winning by 50% in case of a tie. Oh, and that generates one less thirst. That would be nice. Oh, skills and discipline. So we can 170. We could spend those two and be a lot better. Compel. Access to dominate. And what is this? Awe. Gives access to presence as a dialogue choice. I think I'll just go with those two skills here. Iron Will and Mental Fortress. Part of me kind of goes like, you know, it's cool to have these disciplines. They're the cooler abilities. You know, you can use them and actively kind of. But of course they cause hunger. So you can also only use them in a limited way. So part of me goes like, okay, I want this. But on the other hand, part of me goes like, I'm probably going to have more success in this game if I invest in skill points. And I can also... Okay, so it seems attributes only improve ties. Which makes sense, because that if you increase an attribute, it improves ties possibly for several abilities, like you see here. If I improve social, that means in rhetoric and persuasion, I can be better. I can beat someone. But of course, if it's only when there is a tie, that still means I have to have good skills and something else. Hi, Pilkey. How's it going? Um, I'm just fighting the skill tree here. Yeah, I think maybe I should just... Let's go here. So I could go... Let's maybe level up rhetoric and intimidation. And I could get some education out of this. Which might help us. Or is there any discipline I can upgrade with 30? With 60 actually. So here I can improve my dominate, I guess. Yeah, I think with Galeb we kind of want to go into dominate. So I think this is all we can do at once. So how's it going, Pilkey? Pilkey, by the way, is a fellow streamer. And usually does programming streams because Pilkey is also a fellow Mac and iOS software developer. So yeah, working on the overlay. Okay, which overlay is that? Is that for the Streamline music player app, or is that for Copis, your kind of like Organize My Brain app? That would be interesting to hear. It's going well, just messing around in Blender. Oh, okay, so it's a Blender overlay, right? You were doing that. That's a cool idea, by the way. I love that. So Pilkey has been doing a kind of like a computer game in Unity to show on stream at some point. Okay, so that is that overlay, that Unity thing. Okay, yeah, makes sense. Yeah, and it's really cool. It's like he has this little kind of like a VTuber avatar that can then be controlled to walk around there and things like that. And it's really cool, and it's neat to see how one sets that up in Unity, because Unity has some really cool features built in. I have to say, my problem is I'm so used to being able to program stuff directly that in Unity, where you kind of have more like properties that you change most of the time, there are a bunch of things happen kind of a different way around than I expected. And so it's always a little yeah, I just couldn't wrap my head around Unity. But then, I did a few tutorials, and all of the ones I could find were about do this, do that, do this, without telling me why we're doing it this way. And that's useful if you're completely starting, but as a programmer, I kind of need to know the why. Otherwise, it seems too arbitrary for me. It's a different experience. There's a lot that feels like magic. That's a very positive way of putting it, I guess. Yeah. Oh, and Ada, I missed that one. There are literal spiders. Okay, yeah, then better leave the cables alone. Can the audience control the game? Not fully, not yet. Eventually I'll have interactive elements where chat can affect things. Yeah. That seems fun. I wonder, like, is there... Like, how would you hook that up to chat? Like, the bot I'm using, which, what is it called? Mix It Up bot. It actually has the ability to, like, just run an executable, but it's a Windows bot, sadly. It can just run an executable in response to a command. So, I would guess that way you could run a script and tell your Unity game, you know, like, hey, move to the side or something like that. But, it'd be interesting, to see how you plan to do that, since you're usually on the Mac. There's a Twitch API, so you can detect redeems, subscriptions, bits, etc. Yeah, so you want to hook it up to a channel point redeem. I guess that works if it's not a bot command. But even then, the Twitch API, you'll have a bit of work ahead of you, because for one thing, you'll have to code the login. So I think that might be OAuth in some shape or form, but that's about it. And then you need to use that token to actually do the requests. And the request itself is probably just, you know, HTTP request up, get some JSON back, react to it. That's the easier part. But, like, usually the logging into a service is always the more complicated part. If you plan to stream that, I'd love to see how you figure that one out, because that's always a bit of work. All right, so we've upgraded some random skills on Galeb. So let's see what we can do. You're hoping to talk to others doing the same thing about how they've
like
done
always,
it.
you've completed your mission.
Like always?
Those words don't come from me. You must know what they say about you here.
No, I don't know. Enlighten me.
Well, you have kind of a reputation. It's actually rather flattering.
I think we want to know. I mean, it's not as if he really cares, but it's strategically important, I think.
What exactly do they say?
Oh, you want to know? I didn't think...
Simple curiosity, nothing more.
Everybody kept saying that Galeb Bazori has been in tough spots before, and that you come through them unscathed. They were right.
Don't listen to gossip. Forge your own opinions.
Don't worry about it.
It's not a natural thing here. It takes some experience.
Mens et manus.
Oh, he doesn't know Latin? Interesting. Given how old he is, I would have expected him to have heard that. So mens is basically the mind, and manus is the hand. So mind and hand. I don't know how that continues, but I guess we didn't spec into education, so he doesn't know.
I beg your pardon?
Nothing. It's Latin. My mind wandered for a moment. You didn't tell me what was in those files you gave the prince.
I don't see how that's any of your business.
To make up your own mind about something, the best way is to go to the source. And apparently, Jason Moore is well informed.
I see. You'll have to be patient, Fang.
Do you... Do you think your success on the mission could play to our advantage? I mean, for...
The Prince will decide your fate when the time comes. Being useful to her can't hurt. How do you feel about it?
Honestly? I just want to get it over with. Like when you're going into finals?
Even if there's no going back?
It's a little late for that, isn't it?
It is.
Your child, Beryl Underwood, did he have any second thoughts?
I don't want to discuss it.
He's your only child, so I wondered how it went. Well, could you enlighten me?
It's nice because you can basically choose everything here in this game. The characters have a lot less built-in character, I think, which, you know, gives you the freedom, but also kind of makes it hard. Like, either I go with my initial expression of him, which is kind of, he would probably more play it close to the vest. But on the other hand, I want to find out what the backstory is, you know? So it's again the problem with me. Do I roleplay this, or do I just, you know, do what I would do or would want to know? But, you know, he's thinking, and he had been planning until today to embrace her, to make her a vampire as well. So I'm thinking, you know, he trusts her enough. And that's my excuse for doing what I want. Because I want the backstory.
Beryl is very different from you. He always has been. I was blind. It won't happen again. Beryl would have begged me to get what he wanted. Your patience reassures me. I'm making the right choice with you.
You seem to really have a problem with him.
Yes, and that's why you must stay away from him.
This separation between you, what caused it?
Don't dig too far into it. You know this is something I don't discuss.
That's too bad.
No, he's not going to talk to Beryl about this, I think, because, like, that would just show weakness. But we have a chance of success here, so of course we'll take that.
I'm not one to beat around the bush, especially on a matter like this. So either be frank with me, or be silent.
I'm sorry, it's just that it's not easy for me.
I'm listening.
Beryl asked me to come by and see him.
Did you?
I didn't think anything bad could happen. I actually thought that...
You ignored what I told you. Don't ever do that again. What did he want with you?
Nothing in particular. He wanted to get to know me. He told me about Seattle, the Camarilla. He was just being nice, that's all.
Beryl isn't nice. He's dangerous. I'm going to have a word with him.
But...
Wait here.
Just one more, and then you can go rest.
All right.
Thanks, Ms. Ortiz.
Okay, so I guess whether I want to or not, I'm going to have a word with Beryl. Okay, let's just unlock one of the safe zones. Oh, and the spot over there is open now. The impenetrable curtain has opened! It's always funny when you have a curtain that you can see through and you go like, blonk, blonk. You know, like this one here. It's just a curtain. Bonk. Bonk. Oh, can we talk with you?
Any news here?
Everyone is stressed out. I've never seen anything like it. They're all talking in hushed voices. They barely dare to look at each other.
People and their moods. I'm not interested in that.
I saw them take one of Jason Moore's bodyguards below. To question him, I imagine. That could be of interest to you. Say, how are things with the girl?
Excuse me.
It's Zhu Feng, right?
She's not a girl.
Things going okay?
Never mess with a curtain that has a collider. Yes! That's the game developer point of view. No, I mean, it's okay. You know, you have to kind of change the environment up a bit, and I think here the goal is, you know, these alcoves are where you can go to feed on someone. And they only give you, and where you can go to, you know, like, change masks. Excuse me. Change masks and things like that. Which are mechanics in this game. So you kind of, you know, it has an effect on game difficulty, how many of them there are. So they kind of have to lock off some of them. And also, of course, the area just feels more alive when you come back to a place and it looks different. Even if it's just, these two alcoves are now closed and occupied or something like that. So here's the thing, you know, I think he thinks, what business is it of hers? I'm not sure. You know, he came to her. Or at least that was my thought, you know, like, she is the barkeeper. She has information. So you don't really go and say, you know, what business of yours is it? You know, I want information from you, but I'm not going to give you anything. So, you know, that seems kind of short-sighted. Like, I could see myself playing Galeb like that. Because, you know, he's kind of this, he's an old vampire. They mentioned earlier that he would, what was it, go on the travels or something? There is like this call of the wild where certain vampires just leave, kind of to get away from humanity and things like that, for older vampires. I forgot what the exact term in Vampire the Masquerade was. It's been mentioned in the game earlier. I think even to Galeb, I think Hazel told him, like, I'm surprised you haven't followed that call yet and you're still here, thank you, and things like that. And so, you know, he is kind of the most inhuman from the vampires we play. So he might, you know, have lost the knack for tact. So he could say that, and he's definitely powerful enough, you know, that when he asks you something, you give him the answer. If you're not very high level in the hierarchy. Even if he doesn't give you information. So he could get away with it. On the other hand, I don't think he would tell her Burrell worries him, because, you know, that could get to Burrell. And, you know, we're we're worried about Burrell and we're wary of him. But it's better if he doesn't expect us to be. And if we go around telling strangers, then, you know, he keeps hearing it everywhere. That wouldn't be good. But so I guess let's go with yes.
Yes, things are fine.
She seems worried.
Don't worry about her.
Do you think you'll embrace her soon?
As soon as possible, once the prince gives me permission.
You met Fang at MIT, didn't you?
Yes, I went to see her.
How did that go?
I told her I was the CEO of a company that wanted to take sustainability seriously.
Smart.
She didn't reject the idea. She took it as a challenge. I liked that about her. She did everything she could to bring about a real change in me. She would be an incredible asset for the Kindred.
I've never embraced anyone.
That's actually... I love how they weave in all the Vampire the Masquerade background in this game, you know? If you... like, it's... One of the things they mention is that kind of the older vampires get, basically like humans, just on a different level. They kind of get, you know, more inflexible and things like that. And, you know, that, you know, technology, they don't use it as much. I'm trying to remember, was it in Vampire the Masquerade? Not quite sure there, but I think... there was also something how, like, technology works worse for older vampires. Like, malfunctions. But I might be mixing that up with some other vampire universe. But anyway, so... On that background, you know, Shu Feng seems like a great idea to kind of bring adaptation and flexibility into vampires. Like, if there's someone who kind of... You know, if Shu Feng could, before she becomes inflexible herself eventually, if she could, like, establish a system with which vampires kind of get updated on new technology, on how things work and whatever, new approaches to things, then that would make them, you know, that would give the vampires power, of course. And even if that's not what she does, she will at least, you know, for the next, I don't know, 50 years or something, be a driving force for progress. If she's turned into a vampire. Or at least if she works with the Kindred. So that totally makes sense in this universe, and I love that these characters just all, it's, you know, they're role-play characters. Again, you know, he probably wouldn't be too interested, but I am interested, and so I'm taking the liberty of having him ask. Also, you know, you can justify it as, you know, he takes in information about everyone around him to, you know, as a... It's something that makes him powerful.
How come?
The story of my life, and my unlife. I have no progeny, mortal or otherwise.
By choice?
Yes, and no. When things weren't so strict, I could have asked, but I didn't have anyone in mind. Not like you and Fang. Now it's too late, as I've clearly been made to understand.
I don't think he's an optimist who would say, "Oh, I'm sure you'll get your chance eventually." I don't know. He seems too grumpy for that. But of course, here he's giving away a lot of himself.
You shouldn't have any regrets, Sylvia. Sometimes your progeny can be quite a disappointment.
I've already heard that. From my own parents. Be that as it may, I hope the prince will allow you to do it.
I don't know.
I hope last night isn't weighing on you too heavily.
I'm all right.
The prince won't base her decision on just that. You've already proven your worth, Mr. Bizori.
We'll see about that. I'd better be going.
See you.
The audio is a bit... You can tell that, like, they built the engine to calculate the audio based on the camera position. So if you pull up to her, she's 100% audio. But your player character should be exempt from that. And he was very quiet.
What's gonna happen to my vessels?
Why does she worry about her vessels right now? Like, the vessels are these people standing around here. They're, you know, basically for drinking. But yeah, that's things you have to think about in a game engine. It's not enough to build an engine that gives you realistic sound, depending on where the camera is right now. You actually have to think, what's the important sound here right now that the player should be hearing? And of course, one of those is anything your player character says, since it's, you know, from the perspective of your player character. Like, all voice lines should also be full volume. Even if the camera is a little farther away. So there, at the least, you should build in this special case, which they apparently didn't. Or maybe just someone forgot to hook up to the audio engine that in this mission Galeb is the player character. I don't know. But it's also, of course, dangerous, because if you have such special cases and then you have a cutscene or something, and there in the distance you see the player character being shot. In a cutscene, you don't want that special case. You only want it in conversations. And of course, you know, like, you have to just balance it out and go like, okay, in which scenes is it okay if someone is louder, and in which isn't it? Okay, let's go into this room or corridor, which we've never seen before.
A message from Caius. Need you downstairs. Urgent issue. Bad timing. I'm going to have to choose. Help Caius or speak with Beryl.
So here's the thing. I didn't want to speak with Beryl. So... why can't I see my mission objectives? It was press Q, right?
What's gonna happen to my vessels?
So... let's see. Is this... Security HQ. Yeah, so we'll help Caius because, you know, he's security, it's important, helping others gives us something better. And I think Beryl, you know, I didn't want to show him the weakness, didn't want to tell him that we care about things. So I hope that works in my favor.
We're waiting for Mr. Leto's signal. Until then, if you have any questions, save them. Got it?
No problem.
Great. It's practically your second home here. Weren't you the one who was doing surveillance on the Roxbury bunch?
No, doesn't ring a bell.
You all look alike.
I want to report on his activities pronto. I don't like the sound of that at all. Oh, there you are. Follow me, please. We'll speak in private.
He's a bit, that was a bit of a weird moment. Him just going, oh, there you are! Like, as if he'd seen us with the back of his head.
You wanted to see me?
Happy to see you, Galeb. We don't usually let anybody down here, but I can bend the rules for you.
To what do I owe this honor?
I need you. Something's come up. On the night of the attack, someone sent a message to an unauthorized recipient.
Do you know who it was?
Not now, but I will soon enough. Otherwise, the prince will have my head. Galeb, I need your help. I get the feeling that it's all connected. It's too huge to be a coincidence.
Do you suspect anyone in particular?
Jara Drory.
Whoa. Okay, that we didn't expect. Oh, and wait, Caius? He was the guy whose upstairs room we were in. And he kind of had an affair with Jara, wasn't it?
What you're telling me is extremely serious. I hope you have proof.
If I did, do you think I'd be asking for your help? But I wouldn't accuse her unless I had serious doubts. Think it through carefully. For starters, she's one of the few who knows how the system works.
She'd be able to cover her tracks, wouldn't she?
Maybe. But maybe she made a mistake.
According to our intel, Jara may have been captured.
She was caught in her own trap. Anyways, nothing concrete. Just a hunch, if you want to call it that. In my place, under the current circumstances, I can't really go poking my nose in her business.
And I can?
Nobody will bother you. I'm not asking for much. Just take a look in Jara's room to see if you can find anything that ties her to any of this. And if you could do it quickly.
Why?
Because I'm about to erase a ton of data. It's the Code Red protocol. And since Jara vanished, the prince wants her personal data to disappear along with her. That doesn't give us much time. You in?
I guess we have to.
I could maybe go and take a look around.
Great. I found a key to her room. Take it.
Thanks.
It's our last chance to recover the data from Jara Drory's computer before everything disappears for good. Just insert this thumb drive and it will download everything I need. If she betrayed us, I'll know.
Fine. I'll go see what I can find.
Thanks. One last thing.
Uh-huh.
If you could keep this just between you and me.
Fine.
And don't come back to see me here. It's supposed to be sealed. It'll look suspicious. I'll send in an engineer after you. Give him the drive when you're done, but don't tell him anything. We have to keep this between us.
As you wish.
All right. That was interesting. Because there's a power strip down there, and the cables are just lying around. Get a cable duct, you monsters! Sorry. We don't really have technology. Okay, we don't have the security code either. I don't suppose it's written on any of these post-its notes. Post-its notes. Well, yeah, so for those new here, that's the one we've already read. So yeah, there was a big meeting, and apparently someone assassinated okay, the technician or the human.
Where's Miss Drury?
Well, I guess he is a Nosferatu, right? So that one is probably a Nosferatu too.
This is the first time we've worked together. I'm big on discipline.
No
And
problem.
the servant, the guard, is a ghoul, apparently. Okay, that makes sense. Because the cop that we met, who was a ghoul, also seemed to be also was a ghoul, and she seemed to look pretty normal human. Alright. Let's see. Oh.
Where is Feng?
Is there a problem, Mr. Bizori?
Feng, did you see her leave?
No. Sorry, I had to step out for a few minutes. When I got back, she was gone.
I asked her to wait for me.
Okay, let's have a look around first. Before we...
It's never been this quiet here.
That vampire vision. Sometimes it's really hard. Okay, let's explore the new rooms now. I hope that we're not on a timer of some sort. Of course, what he asked us is a bit suspicious. Like, if he's the one... You know, remember, they said he ran security for that place. So if he's the one who betrayed everyone, he would, of course, take someone else, like Jara, who had been arrested, as the scapegoat. And that might also, you know, be the reason why he was, like, flirting with her, according to that letter. You know, to kind of have an opportunity to lure her in and make her, you know, not see what he was up to, maybe. And of course, you know, he's supposed to delete that stuff, and instead of making a copy of his own, he sends us to do it. so that he's not, nobody suspects he has that information. And if we get caught with it, well, we're in trouble.
Feng is in her rightful place on the cover of this type of magazine. There's a reason I chose her.
It's an interesting... like, what is this? It's like an indoor fountain. It's kind of, in a way, it seems like a waste of a room. But I mean, it is pretty, so... I mean, if that was someone's personal room, I would say, why would you put that there? But since it's, this is more like a office building, and so you want some spots where, people can hang out. And of course, like a little park or fountain or something works. Ah, okay, this is the other door here that we couldn't get through earlier. In before it's a Sarlacc pit. Oh no. Oh, can we talk to anyone?
Want a bite?
Huh. Those two aren't available right now.
I'm sorry, but I need to take a break.
Okay. So I hope I won't forget that we were looking for Feng.
Galeb, our secret agent is back already. The soldier is on furlough.
Not for long, I'm afraid. The prince will undoubtedly have some new task for me.
At least she trusts you. She hardly speaks to her primogen. Even Beryl is in the dark.
He's not used to that. It'll be good for him. I heard you were doing business with him.
It's something to do with the Rosemont Society, my foundation. Why?
Oh. I guess persuasion we have 0, so we can't do that.
Now is not the time to be hiding things, given the circumstances. If the prince were to hear about shady business dealings, heads would roll.
She wouldn't take someone's head over so little. We're taking advantage of a springboard for young artists in order to improve our profits.
In other words, you're rigging a competition to make money.
Bravo. You know how to read between the lines.
I call it like I see it.
Coming from you. All I can tell you is that Beryl's really the one who is in charge of it. Are you still not talking?
You could say that.
Any regrets?
I don't think, Beryl is probably already aware. And she's a friend of Beryl, So I don't think it's a good idea to go, that's why I have Feng. That puts Feng in danger, I would say. So it's between it's none of her business or saying, what would I regret? But I think that's that sounds again like weakness that Galeb wouldn't do. He's kind of, he's very about like stoic.
I'd rather not talk about it.
I understand. Personally, I find that giving a child so much power is dangerous. The problem is that you have to watch them all the time, otherwise they end up making a mess of things.
Oh. That's something I didn't know. Like what kind of power was Beryl given? I guess, it was decades ago or centuries ago that so I guess that's it, because he has all these companies, and I guess Hilda would have kicked him out or something a lot earlier.
You might be right. Beryl didn't wait long before revealing his true nature. There's no denying that I'm at least partly to blame for the situation.
Indeed. I would have done something about it, and he would have begged me for forgiveness. Do you really think you'll have time to embrace Fang?
What do you mean?
Well, with all the elders gone, who knows who'll be next?
That's not something I'm willing to discuss with you.
Suit yourself.
No, excuse me, I have to go.
Of course.
That didn't go as well as I thought. It's kind of weird though how everyone goes, oh, and you and Feng, haha. It's Beryl's place, Hilda's place, Dunham's place. Okay, so that's the wrong corridor. I guess it's this one. Oh, there are signs. I should have just read them. Wait. Did we check that room back there? Just in case Feng is somewhere.
I've seen princes come and go. In the end, it always comes down to a struggle for power between the prince and their primogen. Hazel is strong, but will she last much longer?
Oh, what does he have to say about all of these? On the London court. Okay, we've already read this.
A copy of a treatise on metal transfusion. Dijon gave it to Hazel when they first started working together.
Oh, we got some background about this now. I think this was one where I think we looked at this with and she said something about oh, it's something technical, I don't get it. Or it's, oh right, I think she was like, oh, kinky, it's about metal, or about, about thaumaturgy or something. Why would they put that here?
The Convention of Thorns, an important step in our history. A peace agreement that put an end to a bloody revolt. Ancilla against neonates, Camarilla against anarchs.
Okay, nothing about this one.
The First Inquisition. The first time our supremacy was challenged.
Okay, nothing to say here. But we'll have to remember to go every room again. And I think he doesn't have...
The prince didn't ask you for your opinion.
Hazel can't just ignore me and then call me in like this. Now get out of here before I make your blood boil.
Mr. Siaka, you're taking a big risk.
Goodbye.
Asshole.
Uh-huh. He's a bit grumpy. I wonder if he has the skill to pierce. Yeah, that was the letter. Or is it? I would have liked to give you this bond that you've been waiting for so long, but I can't bring myself to condemn you to my situation. But don't be afraid, I'll never abandon you, Jara, never. We're bound together forever. We are one. Since that first night, that first instant, nothing can ever keep us apart, I promise. K. My guess is that is Caius.
Let's see if Caius was right.
Oh. He just sees it.
Jara always was old-fashioned. Whatever's in this box must be important.
Okay. Password arrival.
Jara has always been wary of new technology.
I think we've read all of these. Four, and then one left. Ah. One. Oh.
Jara was conducting her own investigation. There is no way Caius would be expecting that.
Corvus, you used the old code. The most recent one has been compromised. It's a good idea to keep the codes to myself. Alternative procedure. Time of last contact, 7 p.m. Duration, 2 minutes 27 seconds. Anything to report? Notes they are overconfident and have become lax on security. Of course, the prince wants to increase the surveillance of the port. I don't have all the details, but it could complicate your transfers. Note, is that the best you can do? Thank you. I'll pass the word on to the teams. I'm still waiting for your last shipment of files. I'm working on it. It'll be coming soon. In that case, Aquila out. End of conversation. This looks like a test to see if the identification would work without the code. Why? I need more information. This seems a bit odd. So does that mean... So I don't know who Corvus and Aquila are in this case. But here, you use the old... So is this a phishing attempt, basically? Someone using the old code? Because that had been compromised and testing whether others would believe them.
It appears Caius was wrong. He and Jara may have been looking for the same individual.
Okay, I guess since we found the solution, they didn't actually make us click the code. Alright. Does Jara keep this as evidence against someone? Or is it hers and she wants to prevent it being used against her? Well, from what Galeb seems to assume... Oh. There's the rest. So can we... Why did it open? If we didn't find it completely. That's kind of what I'm wondering here. Like, did we basically get it wrong now? Or did the game somehow accidentally let us open it with only half the code? I'm kind of tempted to. Come on. Okay, that's the more. We've seen that already. Oh. So we can find out who K is, I guess. So do we talk to... Can we talk to you?
Now she's sending you.
Run into some trouble with the prince?
That's a question to ask Hazel. She's the one who doesn't know what she wants.
Did she ask you to do something?
She summoned me like a servant. I know she doesn't trust me. even though I don't understand why. She's gone all paranoid Ice Queen, and there's no way I'm gonna let it cost me my head. I don't know how you still put up with her.
You owe your place in the Primogen to her.
What, you think I don't know that? I've always done my best to keep her from screwing things up. But when she reached out to Hartford...
Is there a problem with Hartford?
I told Hazel we can't trust them.
Do you have any evidence to support what you're suggesting?
She doesn't know Deneb the way I do. She wouldn't listen to my warnings.
Her plan was bold.
Risky is a better adjective. After what happened last night, I'm not sure you realize just how deep the shit we are in goes.
And I suppose you have the solution?
Maybe. Not that I'm happy about it. There's interesting stuff going on in other places. Boston's not the center of the universe.
We don't know who can be trusted. This is no time to leave. If the prince has kept you in the dark, she must have had a good reason for it. Just look at what happened.
Open your eyes, Galeb! The Boston Camarilla is crumbling before our eyes! What are the odds we survive?
Hazel has things under control. We'll get through this.
I have a hard time believing that. We have to prepare for the worst.
This kind of talk is beneath you.
You know what it's like to feel called to be elsewhere.
That has nothing to do with this. Salem isn't elsewhere. You won't be any safer there.
It's just a starting point. We thaumaturgs will find a way to deal with it.
I see that you've planned for everything.
I've already lost too much time. You shouldn't waste your time either.
If you leave, Hazel will catch up with you.
What do you mean?
You know, she doesn't like people who have been disloyal, especially now.
Hazel doesn't need new enemies. She should be wary.
Be careful.
Goodbye, Galeb.
Okay. So I don't think we get a conversation choice with him, but also his name isn't K. And he's cleaned up here. Apparently he has no problem with us.
Reading tarot. For those who are uncertain as to what the future holds for them.
I like how judgmental he is. What an asshole. Can we go into any of the other rooms? I guess we could talk with Beryl now. Ooh, who's that?
Mr. Bazori, your child left a few minutes ago.
Oh, I think we missed Beryl.
Locked? Beryl must be out. I'll have to talk to him another time.
I wonder if we could have... But I guess then we wouldn't have heard that conversation.
It's locked from the inside.
I mean, you know, we wouldn't really have a reason. And we don't have the skills to pick any locks, but I mean, that's fine. We shouldn't really. We could go to the prince's office. Or to security. We didn't really... Wait. We didn't really use... We didn't really scan the computer. Insert bug. Okay, now we have the choice. I just didn't see that there was this. Okay.
That should take less than a minute.
But of course, we know Jara wouldn't really have anything inside the computer. So it could be that this is a hack.
I hope Caius will be able to use what's on this thumb drive. I think that's everything. Now it's Caius's turn.
Oh.
Hello, Mr. Vizori. Mr. Leto asked me to wait until you were done. He also told me you'd have something for me.
Here it is. Give it to him, and him alone.
And don't ask any questions. I get it. Are you done here?
You may proceed.
Thanks.
I hope Caius knows what he's doing.
Hazel is probably ready to see me now. I won't make her wait.
Sorry, Mr. Vizori. Miss Jory's quarters are off limits.
What's going on here?
Mr. Leto's orders. We've got to clean up.
Okay. So we haven't really... So the thing is, we haven't found the person downstairs or whatever. We haven't found the person, the K, but Caius told us not to come to him again. Ah, so that's Journey in her office. Oh, is that Caius?
There's no point in hanging around here bothering me. It's gonna take me a while.
Very well, Mr. Sheridan. Please excuse me. The pile's not getting any smaller.
Destroying evidence. Whoa. Oh, here he is.
All I'm hearing tonight is Lazarus do this, Lazarus do that.
Okay, no conversation with him either. It's a bit of a weird...
It's like we spent all these years working for nothing. Mr. Vizori.
Okay.
Can you come help us? I don't know how this will all end, but I'd rather not think about it.
Oh, I hope there won't be another attack.
Okay, nothing really. So we haven't found Fang yet. So I guess we'll spend...
I could use a nap.
Huh. Nothing? Okay, that's a bit weird. Did we wait too long?
Feng held this magazine. Strange. Feng is in her rightful place on the cover of this type of magazine. There's a reason I chose her.
Let's see. Oh wait, not... I guess this is where Barrel's room was, isn't it? Dunham. I guess we're too late. So the question now is, do we go back down? I mean, we kind of know that it must be Caius K, right? So I'm not sure if it's worth it risking exposure.
I thought you were supposed to see the prince.
Okay, and I think... let's just go through here just in case we see something now. Don't think so. Okay. So since, you know, since we've already gone and said we're helping Caius, I guess, you know, in for a penny, in for a pound, or whatever the saying goes. And actually security is blocked for us now. Interesting. Oh. I think this is the first time we didn't just teleport up here. Fancy. I guess this is a load tunnel. Because here you can't see that far. You can't see the door when you arrive. And then once you're here, they can load the rest.
The prince is ready to see you now.
Yeah, I guess by missing Beryl, we probably lost track of Shufeng. I'm not sure if that...
Great.
If that helps us.
Galeb.
My prince.
We were expecting you.
How may I be of service to you this time?
One thing at a time. The situation has changed. The money is gone. The accounts have been emptied.
What? That's impossible.
Only Jason Moore could have transferred the money. The situation is dire.
Moore would never have done it on his own. He would never have dared.
I agree. It's much too bold a move for him. And that's what concerns me the most. Someone used him to attack us. Someone who was extremely well prepared.
Our enemies are everywhere. They're not just kindred.
No, the kind have no knowledge of our business. It's someone with diverging interests from our own. Someone on the inside.
If there's a traitor among us, I'll have their head.
One thing at a time. I'll take care of the traitor, personally. Failure is a luxury we will soon be unable to afford. If you have nothing more to say, we can move on to the reason I sent for you.
So, I thought, I remember from MM, no, not from MM, from Elisha, that there were humans involved. So that's why I went, well, maybe they're not vampires. But of course, Galeb can't know that, so he didn't know it in this answer at this point. But I think we had a mention of an informer in Leisha's mission.
What did you think about Richard Dunham's file?
Money that should be going to me seems to go missing whenever he touches it. Richard is far too important to me. I can't afford to upset him now. But if his research doesn't pay off soon, I won't hesitate to show him my disappointment.
Okay, I think, like, before, I had a bit of a feeling that she's just talking too slow. But here, it kind of worked, it was this kind of Hugo Weaving, Agent Smith. I'll be sure to show him my disappointment. So here it really worked for her, that she's something not quite human and quite dangerous. I don't know, maybe it would have helped if they just, I don't know, given her a slight voice effect to make it sound, just a little bit disconcerting. But I can see the directorial choice, and as long as it works in the important scenes, I think it's okay. at the start of the game, there were a few moments where I was about to go, this is, she's just taking too long to deliver her dialogue.
Did you read Jorodori's file?
I wish I'd never seen it.
There's too much I despise in it.
She never mentioned she was monitoring the Primogen's finances. Or this, Catapotis. What on earth is it?
I've got no idea.
It doesn't add up. It seemed important to her.
But she's not here to shed any light on it.
I don't remember what was in her file, sadly.
I'm listening.
I've asked for your presence here because I have a new mission for you. Delsin was able to track down the men who attacked us.
It wasn't easy, but it was impossible for them to disappear without leaving a trace after what they did yesterday.
Where are they hiding?
Long Island.
Yes, of course. An abandoned facility just off the coast. An old fort. It's the ideal place for a secret base.
And certainly much more. Who knows what they're up to out there?
How is it we didn't notice a thing?
They have abundant resources, and we're short on eyes.
It doesn't matter. We'll find the people responsible for the situation later. Our most pressing issue is preventing them from striking us again.
How?
You're going to go there and kill their leader.
So yeah, she's sending him into the enemy base to kill their leader. And, they're prepared. That kind of, that seems a bit like a bad idea. I mean, that's insane is a bit... I would have said it a little more diplomatically. Because basically, it's both unlikely that Galeb would pull this off, because they're probably prepared for vampires. And then they're also... that's going to make their leader a martyr. Which, is probably just justifying why they went after the vampires in the first place. I guess that's the most diplomatic way we have of saying that's a bad idea.
Walk straight into the lion's den, all alone?
I have complete faith in you, and you've always excelled in this sort of exercise. It should bring back old memories.
I was a hunter of kindred. The SI is a different beast altogether.
You don't think I'd ask you to do this if I didn't have a plan. Delsin has found a way to sneak you onto the island. They evacuated the bodies from the site of the party, which is how we were able to pick up their trail.
There's a small, nondescript warehouse at Jeffrey's Point. As far as we can tell, their transfers from Boston to Long Island are made by boat. To avoid drawing attention to themselves, they've chosen to employ only small craft. There are bodies packed in the warehouse waiting to be shipped over. Do you get the picture?
You want me to disguise myself as a body to be evacuated?
Exactly. All you have to do is stop simulating your vital functions for a few hours.
It's risky.
It's risky, but it's now or never. We might never get another opportunity. We have to try.
The last transfer is probably going to take place tonight. After that, there's no way of knowing when we'll get another chance.
I need to know the details.
Let us worry about getting you into the warehouse. We've made all the preparations. You won't have to worry about a thing until you get to Long Island.
That, like, why would I ask this? Like, as a, oh, it's optional dialogue. I would, of course, I'd click it and see what he has to say, but roleplay-wise, this is exactly the opposite of what he would say.
And after that?
Once you're on the island, you'll be in uncharted territory. You'll be on your own.
Who is my target?
Walter Stanford.
He's the head of the Boston Task Force. He's part of what they call the Society of Leopold.
Someone else will take his place.
No need for you to worry about that for the time being. Your mission is to eliminate Stanford, and that's all.
What do we know about this Stanford?
Not much. They're very careful. He was sent from the Vatican, and he brought other fanatics with him. If he's here, it means that Rome has faith in him, and that can't be good for us.
He's got to be taken out.
What's the Vatican getting out of all this?
Your guess is as good as mine. But it seems that the kind are trying to get a better understanding of us in order to hunt us more effectively. These priests have been our enemies for ages. They have knowledge.
Putting an end to them is crucial. We must keep our enemies from unifying their strength.
I don't wish to be the bearer of ill tidings, but what if I fail? Do you have a backup plan?
Galeb, you won't fail. You're our only hope. We place all our trust in you to complete this essential mission.
There's no room for error, Bazori.
Aren't you worried someone will tip off the SI? There's still a traitor among us.
The traitors, my department. You need to strike quickly, and don't let anyone know of your plans. We can't take the slightest risk.
All right. I've heard enough.
Very well. Then you should get going. We've already lost enough time.
Very well, my prince.
Oh. Okay. You agreed to help Kaios. You discovered more secrets about Jara Drory than you came for. Resonance bonus fortitude. You could have decided to confront Beryl. Yeah, we intentionally didn't do that. You could have questioned Jason Moore's bodyguard in the court's interrogation room. Where was the interrogation room? Like, was that down the side from the computer room? I don't know. Yeah, it was... someone mentioned the bodyguard. In a conversation, I remember that one. Alright, so I guess... So I'm a bit disappointed that I didn't find this spot anywhere. Like where I could have interrogated the bodyguard. I kind of expected the game to kind of point me at that some more. But, you know, there was a voice line about it, so I guess I could argue I just didn't search enough. And also I went, I discarded, like, just in my head when, like, oh yeah, I don't have to go down there, it's just that computer room. And I should have probably looked down that corridor again. And maybe that would have been the interrogation room, I don't know. It said, yeah, right, they said something about in the cellar. Ah, no. Okay. Yeah, it's okay. It's my fault. It was, I guess it was kind of in my head also the thing that Caius said, don't come here again. And that kind of misled me, but that was kind of on me. Okay, but it's time for our break. So remember, you know, get up, stretch, or sit down for a moment if you've been working on your feet or something. Change things up a little. Take a short break. Eat something. Drink something, very importantly. And then see you in 5 minutes. You never get everything right in a game. Yeah. And this game is kind of built towards this, you know. They're giving you options and choices, and you can miss a lot. And that's good, because it makes it more interesting to replay, you know. Now I can go someday later, replay the game, and go, okay, now I'll really make sure to ask the bodyguard, and now I'll really make sure to talk with Beryl, and things like that. So, yeah, in this game, totally normal. And I mean, I didn't have any failures, so I think we're good. I'll call this a success. Yeah, multiple choices and endings is great for replaying. Exactly. And that's what this game is about, basically. It's all about the story and the choices and the skills. Alright. So, see you in 5 minutes. Short break.
You're sure the suite does not bring back any memories, Monsieur Yesterday?
No, I'm sorry.
Dommage. Well, call me if you need anything at all. Dinner with adult entertainment. You get my drift? Blonde, brunette, bald, black, white, young, oldies, sex pots, fat ladies, dwarves, hussies, spinsters, natural, surgically enhanced, clean, or filthy. And 10% discount if I get to watch. Okay?
Thank you, Albert. I'll keep it in mind.
It's a weird hotel. What the heck? Just rattles off the list. Maybe he's possessed by a dead, satanic murderous spirit. To paint their sails red. I see a white sail and I want to paint it red. No colors anymore, I want them to turn red. Luckily red and black rhymes, so I don't even have to change the lyrics much. And I wonder how that works, like whether it was just that, you know, the kind of people, you know, that being outside of town kind of protected them from, you know, I don't know if they, you know, took apart a body to see out how it worked, that then nobody would, you know, see them do it, and that way, you know, ignorance is bliss. Or if it's more about, you know, having you know, being near the forest. 50 ways to dispose of a corpse. 50 ways to dispose of a corpse. Just slip out the back, Jack. Drop it in the lake, Jake. Set it on fire, Lila. Just listen to me, or whatever. It continues. Just set yourself free. Iconoclast trauma kit. What was that last item? Sounded like euthanasia kit or something like that. I don't know. A sea lion. That's cool.
Oh, you must try my ale sometime. You must. My abbey brews the best in Kent.
It certainly sounds worth the risk of my immortal soul.
Is rather a hard taskmaster.
And your god forbids the mixing of wool and linen. It sounds to me like he's never heard of England.
Not all that is written in the scriptures is God's honest truth.
I do a roaring trade at Reculver and Tunbridge. They pay well for my catch.
The monks? Do those parchment-skinned Christians ever eat meat?
Don't you believe in Jesus? They refrain because he died for our sins.
No one will stop me sucking the marrow from a nice leg of lamb, not even God's seed.
I hope eternal damnation is worth it.
I think that's a bug.
One more time, I'm telling you. If he says my boots...
They switched to being generic Anglo-Saxon men from the dialogue.
Rub it often to measure your progress towards true bliss.
Oh boy, a pet unicorn! I shall call him Horny.